So good day everyone. So now we will discuss about the global demography. As we go on to this topic, I am Ellen Grace Dirobem from BSBA 2E HRDM. In this lesson, we will discuss or explain the theory of demographic transition model as in aspect to global population. And for today's video, we're talking about the global demographic model, and we learn how the country of all over the time, what's going on the population growth, and why this stuff really matter. So, small introduction. So, when we say demo, it means people. When you say graphy, means the measurement. So, demography, it is the scientific study of human population, primarily to their size and their structure and their development. According in the study, the size of territorial distribution and composition of population change therein a component of such change with may be identified as natality, mortality, territorial movements, and social mobility and change of status. We were talking about the demographic transition model. It's all about the demographic is looking how the country all over the time change, especially in focus on the birth rate, death rate, and population growth, and increase the rate. So we were looking how eventually the country grow. So now we stick what's going on in the process. So what are the causes occurs for this? So we were break down to the stages. So let's start from the stage 1. The demographic transition model, which is the stage 1 is the low growth. So what do you call that? This is the major of human history took place in this stage. Now one thing you understand is about there is no longer country in this stage, or maybe there is no small tribe in all society or countries. This stage 1 is show you the birth rate and the death rate is very high, and the death rate is very high. This is in the same level of this stage. So of course there is no great population growth and also no education and birth control. Why? Because there's no this is the old human civilization and lack of hygiene and large family. So we have stage 2, the transition model. This is that we call the high growth. So why high growth? Because the birth rate is very high and the death rate is very low or decline. So why? Because there's a lot of healthcare improved, less infant die, more transportation and medical care. So let's move on to stage 3. So this stage is decreasing of population growth. During this stage, the CBR starts to decline and the CBR is continue to decline. So our NRI or the population growth is now moderately instead of high. Why? Because of urbanization, like we're living in the farm and move to the other city and change our mind to having more babies or kids. So next we have stage 4 that we call the low no growth. So because of the CBR is low and the CDR is low and the population growth is also low. So the what you call this is the zero population growth. So first Why this is happening? Because of the urbanization, continue of mutants continue. Second, the women have more opportunity in the society. So the decline in both birth and death rate of most stage 4 country have been attributed to strong economies like highly educate citizen, healthcare system, the migration of the people and rural community to society, and expanded employment opportunity for women, and this is the factor play out for the total fertility rates or decrease until it's reached the replacement in level 2.1 birth per woman. So out of 2 is 1 children is produced. So which point the country is enter the stage is still ongoing. So let's move on to the next topic, which is essay on the principle of population. Was first established on anonymously in 1798, but the author was soon is identified with Thomas Robert Malthus. This book is one for the future difficulties on interpretation of the population increase in geometric progression, so as the double every 25 years, while the food production is increased in arithmetic progression, which is would live in difference resulting in wants to food and remain an useless birth rate decrease. That the essay of the population principle, which is the Malthusian theory of the population, which relate for supply and population growth, for the idea the growth of population in potentially that evenly is reduced the living and standard and lead to the population drop. This is talk about the relationship between the food supply and the population growth. According to him, the food supply is increased, the population change. According to Malthus, the food supply rate is increased, like the population rate is like geometric rate, or it's multiply, and the food supply is arithmetic rate, or very slow or concentrated. If you will see the graph there in the upper, no, this will be eventually lead to a shortage of what? Food. So in the result, to the proposed that through preventive check and positive check, the population would be controlled to balance the food supply with the population level. So we have positive check or a native check. So Malthus was opposed that the forces will be correct the disparity between the food supply and the population growth in forms of nature disasters such as food and earthquake and man-made action, such as conflict and starvation. So last we have preventive check. This is the Malthus suggested, no, using preventive methods to regulate the growth of the population. This process is include from family planning, like using condoms, pills, and late marriage and celibacy.